Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today we're going to look at the Hoyt Hyper Edge. Now the Hyper Edge came out in 2016, and to me it was really a statement by Hoyt in the bow development. They changed lots of things, in my opinion, on the Hoyt Hyper Edge, and to me it was a significant improvement in the right direction for Hoyt. In fact, it was such a big improvement, I was like, is this going to take over the market? So this is the first time I've actually shot a Hyper Edge. A lot of people I shoot with were shooting Hyper Edges and they actually sold them. But this is the first one in my shop, and it's second hand. So at the time, the Hyper Edge sold in Australia for about $2,300, I think it was. It's been replaced with the Hoyt Pro Force for 2019, which is basically the same specs as this. This is my attack poodle. So when I get all my death threats from Hoyt shooters about that they don't like the way I review the product and I don't say it's fantastic, that's my attack poodle. You've got to go through her first. And I am serious about that. Not about going through my poodle, but about people commenting. Now to me, this was a big statement by Hoyt. They moved to beyond parallel limbs. Now that to me was the first big improvement Hoyt made. The second big improvement on this bow was the rotating modules to allow people to change the draw length. The third big improvement, in my opinion, was the limb stops that came out. Now in the previous versions when I reviewed this bow, I said, look, this is what I don't like about the bow. The bow's got modules to change the draw length, it's module adjustment, and I got hammered by Hoyt shooters saying you're an imbecile, basically you should know what size draw length you are, all that, those sorts of comments. What this enables you to do is change the draw length. So if you don't find it just quite right for you, you can adjust it. Now this particular bow, the cam here, it's got a draw stop there. This is a cable stop and this is a limb stop. To me that was a big improvement. You can either shoot with one or the other or shoot with both of them. It enables you to change how it feels. Now I haven't actually shot this bow, so you just got to bear with me. But the adjustable draw length on this particular bow goes from 27.5 to 29, and I really like that feature. It's a hybrid cam, so top and bottom is different. You can see the modules down here, 2 screws. You do not need a bow press to adjust it. You can see here it's on letter B, and on the back here and on the front it's on B, and it'll be on B up the top here. B, and I'm hoping there's a B there. Now with the hybrid cam system, top and bottom wheels separate as far as different. You've got a yoke at the top and no yoke down the bottom. That's pretty standard. Back in the time, the companies using the hybrid cam system was PSE and Hoyt. There's probably a couple of others using it. Obsession still use it, and Hoyt's obviously still using it today. The other thing they changed was this roller glide system. This is very much like the Matthews roller slide, but this actually flexes out. I think Matthews had a flexible one, but most of the Matthews were fixed. So that to me was very different. When I first saw these limbs, I thought they were the straight Gordon Glass limb that a lot of the bow companies are using, but this is actually a 5-piece laminate limb. And you can see how much flex is on it. I really liked how it was, the limb pivot was pulled away from the riser, very much like the original Bowtex. So it basically evens out the curve. Now on the profile of the limbs, you can see it's actually thinner here, thicker there. Sorry, did I say thinner there? Thicker here and thinner here. Now this is what Bowtex did to create an even pull on the limbs. PSE have done it with their limbs. Hoyt basically picked that up, and I think it's awesome. Great design. Metal limb pockets, which you obviously expect. Shoot through riser. Now this bow, the specs on this bow is, now if I get it wrong, I'm just going from memory, so, and I've only seen the specs on it once. I think it's a 35 or 36 inch axle bow, 325 IBO, 7-inch brace height, and 4.5 pounds. All of that sounds good. Now the problem is, where does this bow fit in the market? because it's not a hunting bow, because hunting, people who hunt generally don't want to shoot through riser because it's too hard to load broadheads. So this is clearly aimed at the target archery 3D market. Now for 3D, in my opinion, 325 is probably not going to be fast enough. However, in America you are limited to speed of 300 feet per second, the arrow penetrating out the bow, and that's where this bow will come straight into its own, because it will have no problem doing that with the lighter arrows. Target shooters will generally want a bow longer than 35 inches, although some companies are having success with 35 inches on the market today. But most people, and I'm going to say Hoyt shooters, are generally shooting the Hoyt Prevail, which has 37 or 39 inches. So to me this was a kind of a weird bow, but I think Hoyt was really marketing this at the field 3D archer. But I don't know if it's fast enough. I'm going to be interested to see how it shoots as far as accuracy and how it feels in the hand. But I think the looks of this bow, and I noticed the Hoyt Pro Force looks very similar. Lower mount stabilizer down there, which looks great. Came out in a whole heap of great colors, and this is a silver. Here, this is where the limb bolt goes in. This is a great idea, and all bows should have this. This is really top notch how it works. It'd be nice to see how much of the, sorry, I'm going to spin to this side. This sticker here is actually covering up the limb bolt, so you can see how far the limb bolt's in or out of the little lug here. But I've got this bow fully wound up. Hoyt did away with the original ones. Used to have a metal plate here which connected to a dampener here. They did away with that, and a lot of the pro shooters took that off. But overall I really like the look of this bow. I liked it in the marketplace. In Australia, what I found fascinating with this bow when I did a bit of research, in Australia this bow is currently selling, I'm going to get the number wrong, I think about $2,200. That's Australian dollars. In America, the Hoyt Pro Force is selling for $2,000. Now the Australian dollar is 67-66 cents to the American dollar, which would make a $2,000 bow in America converted to Australian dollars about $2,700. We have GST in Australia of 10%, so without freighting this bow to Australia, it would put the price of this bow in Australian dollars at about $3,000. Now dealers in Australia are selling this for about $2,100, $2,200, and I clearly do not know how they're doing that, because are they doing special rates for Australia? I mean, is Hoyt doing special rates for Australia compared to America? Are the Hoyt dealers in Australia making no money? I don't know what the story is. I know I make no money when I sell a Hoyt, but it's very, very interesting. Now the bows that this competes with, who are going to be in the same marketplace to this bow, they're PSE Perform 3D, shoot through riser, similar sort of, a little bit heavier, faster, 338 feet per second. The Elite Echelon, that's got a bridge riser, so not a shoot through riser, but a bridge riser. In Australia it sells for about $2,000. The PSE is about $2,000. But in America the PSE is $300 US cheaper than this. The Echelon is about $500 cheaper than this. So, but when you come to Australia, the Hoyts are significantly lower in the marketplace, I think, to compete. But I'm not sure what that is. But it's clearly cheaper to buy a Hoyt from Australia and ship it to America than buy a Hoyt in America, which just blows my brain. But anyway, we're going to shoot this through a chronograph. Some things. This bow's got custom strings to it. They've served here. I think that's how it comes from the factory, which is a good thing. Now secondhand, when you buy a secondhand, there's no warranty with it, so it's like, how much do you pay for that bow? So this bow here, I think I've got for $1,050, and like I said, it's 2 years old, and it was 2,300 new, and it will be a hard bow to sell, although I think there's a person going to buy this bow tomorrow. So let's shoot this through the chronograph and see how it shoots, and see how the draw cycle is, and see what I think of this bow. Okay, so this is my first draw back with the Hyper Edge, and like I said, I really like it. I like the adjustable grip here, and I think that should be standard with all bow companies. The other competitors do not have that, and I think that should be a standard feature. I think it's really good. So Now the arrows I shoot, I'm shooting gold tip velocities, pin system, 90 grain points. These weigh 327 grains. This bow is set at 60 pounds, fully maxed out. It's at 28.5, which is basically what I do all my tests on, so I can compare like with like. Now some people are going to say, well, you're not shooting IBO specs. No, I just do this with all my tests. I shoot the same arrow, same poundage, same draw length. I generally shoot 29, and this one's 28.5 because that's how it was set from the customer when I got it. And I'm 28.5, so I thought, well, instead of changing the draw length, let's just try this out. So let's just first off try the draw cycle. So to start off with, this is really firm. The very first bit is firm. Like I said, this is the first time I've drawn this bow. The grip is significantly narrower than the PSE and the Elite. It's a very narrow grip. It's the most narrow compound grip I've shot. It feels comfortable. So it starts off solid and it kind of builds, but it's not kind of building. If anything, it's dropping, if that makes any sense. The first bit is definitely the hardest, and then it's kind of getting easier. So it's becoming really easy right now. It's dropping off, and then it's solid. Wow, this draw length feels short to me. I'm going to take this shot. Now, unfortunately, it didn't read. So, and this is the thing, from bow company to bow company, draw lengths do feel different. Like this is on B, which I thought was 28.5. But it feels short. I'm 28.5. Now these cam numbers, which are just there, that means something to someone, nothing to me. So, but whenever I sell a Hoyt, people always ask me what cam it's got. Now cams are really expensive for Hoyt. You're probably talking around 400 Australian dollars for a set of Hoyt cams. Hoyt limbs in Australia, I think, are about 400, maybe $500. .291, which, you know, for a bow which shoots 325, 291 is not bad. That's kind of where I expected to be. I think from when I shot the Perform, I think that's doing about 310. So, which is kind of in the right kind of ballpark. But I think this draw length is definitely shorter. Feels really short to me. Now, on the draw cycle, it starts, as I said, it starts off hard, but then it's like becomes easier all the way through. There's a very small, it's a solid draw stop because you've got a limb stop on it. So it's as positive as anything when you get back there. So you're back here. Now to let this thing down, there's no problem. Some bows, when you let them down, it really rips your shoulder out. This doesn't hurt. Because it's not that 90% let off that you'll feel with some bows. This is very comfortable. The draw cycle feels really good. We're just going to shoot another one. Not reading correctly because the sunlight's going out, but the shot itself, the bow feels nice, the weight feels good, the balance of the bow is excellent, and I'm really interested to shoot some scores with this bow. .288. So I've got 288 and 291. So with that, I'm going to set up the sights, shoot at 18 meters. I'm staggered how short this feels. I wish I had a draw length arrow with me because it feels like 27. And I know the guy who brought this is shooting, he's now shooting at Matthews at 28.5, I think, which is about the same as me. He may have gone to 28. Now I'm going to say on the later Hoyts they have a chart on the limb to say what poundage the bow is. This one doesn't have it. And they also have a thing on the limb to say what size module, so what size A and B is as far as draw length. That doesn't exist on this bow. So just feel short, but anyway, we're going to go and shoot this at 18 because I'm going to be interested to see how I shoot with this bow, because like I said, there's a number of people in my state who purchased one of these. They shot it and they didn't shoot particularly well with it for target. That's not me being harsh. That's them reporting back to me to say they didn't shoot very well, and they sold the bows, and I think they brought prevails afterwards. So, in fact, the person who sold this bow to me, I think he still got a prevail. I think. So that's just off the top of my head. So he kept the prevail and sold this one. But to me, the draw cycle is much easier than a prevail. So if you're comparing Hoyt to Hoyt, much easier draw cycle than the Hoyt prevail. It holds easier than a Hoyt prevail. Less recoil than a Hoyt prevail because the limbs are parallel. It's quieter. I think the draw stop is more positive than the prevail. And if I had to choose between the bows without shooting them, I would choose this over the prevail every time. So I'm really interested in how it shoots, because it feels so good to shoot compared to the prevail that I don't know why this one hasn't been picked up by more people, because it feels good. All right. Okay, so I've fired 3 shots to sight this bow in, and my arrows were slightly low in the 9, so I'm just going to make this adjustment. Now I normally have another camera down the other end, but luck has it, one camera won't turn on and the other camera won't turn on either, so you're just going to have to wait to see what the grip's like down the other end. Now, so I'm going to say this is the best Hoyt I've ever shot, and I'm going to say that as far as bows, this to me, how this bow feels, rates right up there with the very best. I'm not saying that so I don't get death threats from dickhead Hoyt shooters, because you have to be a dickhead to make those sorts of threats to people. Nothing to being with a Hoyt shooter. It's kind of funny because when I do reviews, I'm just like, this is how it feels, and I get lots of comments from Hoyt shooters saying, look, those comments are more than fair, and it's actually how they feel about their bows, even though they love their bow. But I don't know what the review is. I don't think I say anything bad, but anyway, to me this just feels great. I like the grip, I like the things Hoyt have done with this. If I was in America, I think the 2000 US price point, you know, it's expensive, so you'd have to see how you feel about that. Okay, so the aiming on this thing is dead still. It's just, my pin's just sitting there, it's just bouncing around a little bit. The balance is great, there's no vibration. It feels really, really good. I love the draw cycle. At 60, this bow feels really easy to draw. Like, some bows at 60 you struggle with. This one, you clearly don't. It's just easy all the way through. In fact, I struggle with the Hoyt Prevail. I found that, especially with the faster cam, I found that quite hard to draw. This is like nothing. This is easy. I like the way it feels. I like the let off. I like the finish. I think this bow looks good. Almost makes me want to try the carbon one, because I have done the review on the RX1 and I can't remember what I said about it. But this feels great. It really does. It feels good. When I shoot I'm getting a little bit of that, but it's pretty good. So yeah, just on my little haunts I get from Hoyt shooters. Look, I believe in freedom of speech, and I thought Americans do too, that you should be able to have your views on what you think of things. If you don't agree, just make a comment. You don't threaten people. Like, what a wally. Like, seriously. People are big behind emails. Look, I don't know how these arrows are going to group down the other end, but they're feeling good. I think they're just nailing each other. I've just got a basic whisker biscuit, basic 5-pin sight. Oh, I do have a peep sight. So normally I don't have a peep sight for my reviews. I've got one because this bow's second hand and it had the peep sight fitted, and obviously his anchor and peep sight's at the same position as me because he's about the same size as me. What amazes me, here I am going on, this is probably why people hate me. If I had this bow in my shop and people could shoot it, they would love this bow. And in my shop you can come in and shoot the bows. In the other Hoyt shops in my state, the other Hoyt shops, you can't actually shoot the bows. So no one actually knows what the bow's like until you get the bow home. This shoots really, really well. I like the grip, I really do. I like the draw cycle, I like the balance. This is a good bow. So I'm going to rate this against other bows I've shot that I've really, really liked, and only ones I can remember. Okay, so don't say, well, you like these other bows. Look, I'm just thinking about things I remember. And my head's probably like jelly. My brain's like jelly, probably. I really liked some of the elites. I'm not going to say which one I like because I can't remember. I think it was the elite ritual or the elite something or other I shot. Feels very much like this. Now the elite is a twin cam bow. Draw cycle is very similar. I think the elite might be a little bit faster. I think it's a new elite out. The option's okay from elite too. Now comparing it to the Obsession, which uses a hybrid cam system. The Obsession's a nice bow to shoot. Absolutely a nice bow to shoot. I actually like this better, and I think I like the grip. The balance is good. Now there's obviously a price difference. I'm going to say the elite, the Obsession probably is a $1,300 bow, $1,400 bow. Where secondhand this is $1,100, you know. So brand new 2000. I would have to shoot, and I always recommend go into a shop, say, look, these are the 3 bows I'm interested. Go and shoot an arrow with them, and then you say, can I justify the difference between $1,000 and $1,500 and $2,000, or even a $500 bow? Can I justify the difference? And that's what I do when I basically buy something. I'm like, can I justify this? Because this bow to me is a nice bow, and I would like to shoot one of these. Look, it just feels great. I think Hoyt do really good things. So things I like about Hoyt. The bows are bulletproof, pretty much bulletproof. As I understand, they provide good customer service for the dealers. Now, I'm not a Hoyt. I don't deal with Hoyt. I'm not a Hoyt distributor. So I don't even know how to contact Hoyt. All right. So, but I know their bows are pretty solid. And in the past, when I know customers had problems, they have been fixed by Hoyt. I don't know how they contacted them. And what I really like about Hoyt is they support their local archery stores. So you don't see Hoyt being flogged online. You do in Australia. You do in Australia. So in Australia, it's just full-on war as far as price war with Hoyt. But in America, they set the price, and pretty much you've got to go into the Hoyt shop to get it. You know, Lancaster isn't doing discounts on Hoyts. So it makes it fair for the shop in Alabama who's a Hoyt dealer. That's a good system. You're not going to be at the, I'm going to say the box stores, the guys who are selling basically giving away the bow. They're fitting all the accessories for free just to make the bow sale. So the shop can make a living out of selling Hoyt. So I'm going to say, I think it's really important that you have retail archery stores. It's really, really important. I think Hoyt support that. They've never supported me, but they support the local stores, and I think that's a good thing. And when I say they never supported me, there's a whole story behind that, which I can go into. Hoyt was in Australia. They left and they gave distributorship to every shop in Australia. So there's 8 distributors of Hoyt in Australia. And there was too many, basically. That's why we don't have one, because I came after that. And they've never spoken to me. So, because there's so many distributors of Hoyt in Australia, and the distributors have stuff on markup as far as to the retailer, so no one else can sell it. That's why it doesn't exist in Australia. But in America, completely different story. Europe's a different story. They distribute to one store and then they distribute to the dealers. But this is a nice product, and I think it's a huge step in Hoyt. This was a huge step in Hoyt. And I think the things which you see here, which is what featured on on PSE, Obsession, you saw this stuff on Bowtech. This is a good bow. And I think it was a huge step forward. I don't know how their sales are. I mean, honestly, I don't see many of these bows. This is the first one I've seen in my shop. This is the first bow I've seen. This was released in 2016. We're 2019. We're 3 years down the track, and I've never shot one. So that's how many of these bows have been sold in Australia. And when I say none, there's clearly some, right? There's clearly some have been sold. But this was a good product. Anyway, let's go down and see how those groups work, because I think they'll be all right. They might be scattered all over the place. I just can't see. Okay, so I'm up here at the target. This is the group. I can pretty much fit my finger around the group. It's a very tight group. I'll just zoom in so you can sort of see it. Sorry. There. There's a whole bunch of arrows in there. You can see they're really, really tight. And that's with a 5-pin sight and whisker biscuit arrow rest. In fact, that group, 80 meters indoor range, that would be good, right? Even if you're competing against people with stabilizers, scopes, all the bits, you are going to be competitive with a group like that, and that's with a 5-pin hunting sight and a whisker biscuit arrow rest. No stabilizers. So I'm going to say I found the bow, summarizing over what I've said, The draw cycle was good, easy. It feels like a 55-pound bow. 53 is what it feels like. The draw length feels short to me, like incredibly short, but I felt comfortable with it. All I did was bend this front arm, and that's not going to be an issue to me because it kind of makes things flow. And what was really easy about this bow is when you get it back there, it's a dead draw stop, so it's physically locked in. So even though this front arm bent, it didn't matter. I was dead still on that bow. So because I'm going to guess it's got about a 70% draw stop, so when I released, it came back clear and my shoulder blades came together, so it felt really good. So there was very little vibration with the bow. Noise was good. I'd be interested to try a hunting version, and maybe that's what the RX1 is, or the RX3 now, and the RX3 I have not shot. But it's very, very good. I mean, you probably want more speed for hunting and for 3D. I would probably like another 10 feet per second on that bow, just for judging distances. And people always going to say, look, you better shoot a slow 10 than a fast 9. Yeah, look, I'm just trying to compare apples to apples and compare other bows I've shot. And I'm going to say, I think the Elite was a little bit faster. The grip on the Obsession, I preferred this grip. Now, the PSE Evoke is interesting because it's got a big cam system. It's a very smooth draw and it's faster. It's very different to the Hyper Edge to shoot. So you'd have to shoot them 1-to-1 to see which one you preferred. But the Evoke is like a $1,300 bow, brand new. This is a $2,300 bow. But I think the Evoke is heavier. I could be wrong. They've got the Evoke Light, which is probably a closer thing. But I think the Hyper Edge looks better as far as it's a sharper looking bow. So my overall summary of this, I think it's the best Hoyt I've shot. And sorry, I can't remember shooting the RX1. But it just feels, as far as bows I've ever shot, that's one of the best bows I've shot. It feels great. I like all the features Hoyt have added. I think they've made such positive steps in the right direction with their bows. And I think that even if you make a negative comment and feed it up with, look, these are things that can be improved with the bow company, that's exactly what Hoyt have done. They've taken those things and they've improved, and I think it's a huge improvement. So I think that's what you got with the Hyper Edge. Now, I'm not sure with the 2019 version, the Hoyt Power Force, what's different between that and the Hyper Edge. It looks the same to me. In which case, I'm not certain why Hoyt have changed the name from Hyper Edge to Power Force. Keep the name the same. Like, you've got a brand, keep the brand. The brand is worth something. The name is worth something. So, yes, overall, nice product. Things I would like to see. Now, I normally say I'd like to see a two-piece quiver, but it's not a hunting bow. So, I don't know, it's pretty good just the way it is. I'm pretty happy with the way this bow is. There's the colours, it comes in a whole bunch of different colours. The machining's nice and clean. It's pretty good. I'm amazed, because I started this saying that people didn't shoot good scores with the Hyper Edge. Looks good to me. I don't know. And maybe they just weren't used to it. I don't know. It's sometimes confidence too. Sometimes you need confidence in the product to shoot it. And if you lose confidence in the product, basically it's yourself who's letting it down. I don't know. If you want to find out why people had issues with this bow, you'd have to do research. I haven't. done any research. I was just like, oh, the boat's coming to my shop, let's shoot it and see what it feels like. A guy rang me today and said, I'm interested in the Hyper Edge, and I said, I'm doing a YouTube video on it tonight, so you'll be able to see it and see what you think of it. But it's nice. This has got custom strings. I wouldn't pay anything for custom strings. I'd shoot the strings that come with Hoyt. There's nothing wrong with them. They're all made out of the same materials. You know, why spend $200 on a set of strings if the other ones are fine? So, but good product, and I'm going to say a good company. They look after the shops and look after the archers. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and hopefully I don't get too many hate emails from this. So thanks, bye, see you later.